This video will help you improve your English. Here's how it works. 1. Watch the story with subtitles carefully to improve your listening and reading skills. 2. Listen and speak vocabulary words and phrases to improve your speaking skill. 3. Learn through example sentences and practice. Help you to quickly build your vocabulary words and master common phrases.
The story of Prince Siddhartha. One spring day, Prince Siddhartha accompanied his father, King Suryodhana, to the fields to observe the people ploughing and sowing. The scene was peaceful and beautiful, with the clear blue sky, vast green fields, colourful flowers in bloom, and birds chirping merrily on the branches. Farmers worked diligently, and oxen pulled ploughs under the warm sunlight. Yet deep in his heart, the prince felt restless, unsettled. He looked beyond the surface beauty of the scene and saw the harsh reality behind it. He thought to himself, "Under this scorching sun, both the farmers and the oxen work tirelessly, sweating just to earn a meal." The prince's gaze then turned toward a nearby forest, where he noticed a hunter hiding in the bushes, aiming his bow at birds singing on the trees. But the hunter was unaware that a tiger was stalking him from behind. This sight shook the prince deeply. He thought, "Humans and animals kill each other just to survive. Life is full of cruelty and suffering." Sometime later, the prince asked his father for permission to leave the palace and explore the city. He wanted to learn more about the lives of the people. On his first journey to the Eastern Gate, he encountered an old man with white hair, a hunched back, trembling hands, and a cane, slowly making his way along the road. His eyes were dim, and his ears no longer heard clearly. The prince asked the old man, "Sir, why do you look so weak and troubled?" The old man replied in a shaky voice, "I have grown old. My youth and strength have long left me." The prince was deeply moved by the realization that aging was something all people must face. Next, he went to the southern gate, where he found a sick man lying on the ground, frail and thin, groaning in pain. The sick man groaned, "The pain is unbearable. Is there no one who can help me escape this suffering?" The prince's heart grew heavier as he witnessed the suffering of illness. When he reached the western gate, the prince saw a corpse lying in the middle of the road, surrounded by flies. The body was swollen and decomposing, filling the air with a foul stench. This grim sight deepened the prince's understanding of the impermanence of life. Finally, when passing through the northern gate, the prince saw a monk, serene and dignified, walking peacefully along the path with an air of detachment and tranquility. The prince approached and asked, "Sir, why do you look so calm and peaceful?" The monk replied, "I have renounced all worldly attachments. I seek liberation from suffering and strive for enlightenment, not just for myself, but for all beings." The monk's words were like a beam of light that pierced the clouds of doubt in the prince's heart, bringing him clarity and understanding. Returning to the palace, the prince was no longer the same. The images of suffering, old age, sickness, and death continued to haunt him. He reflected on the monk's words, realizing that the life of luxury within the palace could not bring true peace. King Siddhartha noticed his son growing increasingly despondent. In an attempt to cheer him up, the king had a grand palace built, filled with every imaginable luxury, and hosted lavish feasts with music and dancing. At the age of 18, the prince married Princess Yasodhara, a beautiful and virtuous woman from the Kolya clan. Yet even this blissful marriage and royal splendor failed to ease the burden in his heart. When the princess gave birth to a son, the prince named him Rahula, meaning obstacle or bond, as he realized that having a child would make it even harder for him to leave his family and pursue his quest. One day, the prince asked his father for permission to renounce the world and become a monk, seeking the path to liberation. But the king, fearing his son's departure, refused. The prince then made 4 requests. "If you can ensure that I will never grow old, never die, never fall ill, and that all people will be free from suffering, I will stay." King Siddhartha remained silent, knowing that these were impossible demands. The prince understood that there was no other way. He had to leave everything behind to seek the truth. One night, under the bright moonlight, as everyone in the palace slept, Prince Siddhartha quietly mounted his horse, Kanthaka, and left the palace behind. He ventured out into the unknown, determined to find a way to free himself and all beings from the suffering of life. Thus began the journey of Prince Siddhartha, who would later become the Buddha, bringing the light of compassion and wisdom to the world.
Vocabulary words and definitions from the story of Prince Siddhartha. 1. Plowing, turning over soil to prepare it for planting. Example: the farmers spent the morning plowing the fields before sowing the seeds. 2. Scorching, extremely hot, often referring to heat from the sun. Example: the farmers worked tirelessly under the scorching sun. 3. Hunched, bent over, or curved due to age, posture, or pain. Example: the old man walked with a hunched back, leaning heavily on his cane. 4. Detachment, a state of being free from emotional involvement or worldly concerns. Example: the monk's detachment from material possessions brought him peace. 5. Renounced, gave up, or rejected something. usually voluntarily. Example: the monk renounced all worldly attachments to seek enlightenment. 6. Serene, calm, peaceful, and untroubled. Example: the monk's serene expression inspired the prince to seek inner peace. 7. Impermanence, the state of being temporary or not lasting forever. Example: the prince realized the impermanence of life after witnessing old age and death. 8. Lavish, rich, elaborate, or luxurious. Example: the king hosted a lavish feast to lift the prince's spirits. 9. Quest, a long or arduous search for something important. Example: Prince Siddhartha embarked on a quest to find the truth about life and suffering. 10. Liberation, the act of freeing oneself or others from restrictions or suffering. Example: the prince sought liberation from the cycle of suffering for all beings. Phrases with definitions and examples from the story of Prince Siddhartha. 1. Sweating just to earn a meal, working extremely hard to meet basic needs. Example: the farmers were sweating just to earn a meal under the scorching sun. 2. Pierced the clouds of doubt, gave clarity or enlightenment amidst confusion. Example: the monk's words pierced the clouds of doubt in the prince's heart. 3. Tirelessly working, putting in continuous effort without rest or complaint. Example: the farmers were tirelessly working from dawn to dusk in the fields. 4. Bring true peace, to provide genuine tranquility and contentment. Example: the prince realized that palace life could not bring true peace to his heart. 5. Left the palace behind, abandoned a life of luxury or comfort. Example: Prince Siddhartha left the palace behind to begin his journey of self-discovery. 6. The burden in his heart, a heavy emotional weight or concern. Example: despite the lavish celebrations, the burden in his heart remained unresolved. 7. Determined to find a way, committed to discovering a solution or path forward. Example: the prince was determined to find a way to end the suffering of all beings. 8. Harsh reality, a difficult or painful truth about life. Example: the prince looked beyond the beauty of the fields and saw the harsh reality of suffering. 9. Beam of light, a source of hope or enlightenment. Example: the monk's words were like a beam of light, illuminating the path ahead. 10. Swept away by suffering, overwhelmed or deeply affected by hardships. Example: the prince could not ignore how people were swept away by suffering in their lives.